Good morning, Team Twums, and anyone else who might watch this video. I don't know how they would. Uh, I'm going to do another loadout video because obviously there was an update yesterday and lots of things have changed, and I've seen a couple of loadout videos, but like I said in the group, the one by Benny Central, I disagree with some of the things he said because he's bloody good, and so because of that he's able to put different attachments on it. But anyway, I'll explain that more as I go through. So I'll start by going through assault rifles and explain why I've gone for them. Then I'll talk through SMGs, etc. So assault rifles, I have gone for the M4, M13 AMAX from Modern Warfare. Then I've gone the AK-47, the Krig and the Farah. Other options for Modern Warfare assault rifles are, let's have a look. The Ram 7 is still an option. These are all for long range, by the way. The Ram 7 is still an option for long range. I just don't really like it. The Grau is definitely an option. I think I'm going to swap that in and out with the M13 because those two both got a little buff, but I thought I'd give the M13 a go. The Kilo's potentially an option, but at about 80 metres it just completely drops off a cliff, which is why I tend to go for the M4, the M13 and the Grau ahead of it. And those are your Modern Warfare options. So, as I think I've said in previous ones, when you're building your Modern Warfare assault rifles for range, you essentially want the same things every time. So you have the monolithic suppressor every time, the longest barrel, which in this case is a Grenadier, the VLK 3x optic, either the Ranger or the Commando foregrip. The Ranger helps with vertical recoil a bit more, although it does hinder ADS a bit, but with the M4 I find that I need that help with vertical recoil, so I go with the Ranger foregrip and then the 60 round mag. Although you can go for the 50 round mag, I just prefer those extra 10 bullets because I tend to miss a few shots. The M13, exactly the same, monolithic suppressor, Tempest marksman barrel, which is the longest one, VLK, Commando foregrip this time because the M13 is really easy to, it's got barely any recoil, really easy to use, 60 round mag again. Then the AMAX, which again there are not a lot of options which are easier to use, but I'm at a stage where I like to test myself a little bit, so that's why I have the AMAX in there. Again, monolithic suppressor, Zodiac barrel, which is the longest one, VLK, Ranger foregrip for that vertical recoil, and then the biggest mag it's got is the 45 round mag. So they're the Modern Warfare assault rifles. The Cold War assault rifles I've gone for are the AK-47, the Krig and the Farah. So again, the AK is sort of the Cold War equivalent of the AMAX. It's got quite a lot of recoil, but I still quite like it and I want to challenge myself. The Krig is sort of the easiest Cold War gun to use. It has the least recoil, and the Farah is somewhere in between. But other options you could use, the QBZ, I've actually really enjoyed. Every time I've picked up the ground loot one, it seems to be quite good, and that's got a buff in this update, but I don't think it's quite meta. The C58, I watched a video by Jay God and he thinks that's going to be meta, but again it's got a very slow fire rate which hinders you if you miss your shots, because if a gun's got a really fast fire rate and you miss a couple of shots, because you're firing so many bullets it doesn't hamper you as much, whereas with a slow firing gun, if you miss shots it really does hinder your time to kill a lot more. So I sort of have my AK-47 as my slower fire rate gun over the C58, although I might swap that out. The Krig is, like I said, the easiest one. The Fafar is more a close range gun, but it's been nerfed so much, but I still have it as my sniper support for Verdansk. The Groza its recoil has been leveled out, so its recoil's easier. So again, that's an option as a closer range gun. That's a potential for me. Farah's good. XM4, before the update, it had the same time to kill as an AMAX, but I'm using that as a close range gun at the moment, and that's your Black Ops guns. So if I just show you the builds for these, again, if you watch Benny Central's video, he tends to go for suppressors over the GRU suppressor because he wants more movement. So they have sprint to fire sprint to fire speed, but I go for the GRU suppressor. I go for the biggest suppressor every time because it helps a lot with vertical. It helps more with vertical recoil control, and that's the kind of player, or the quality player I am. I feel I need bullet velocity over speed, especially with a long range gun. So I go with the GRU suppressor. Again, they talk about, I think they choose whatever the Liberator for this, for example, but I still go for the longest barrel because it has more recoil control. So that's the last barrel. Axial arms 3 times, Spetsnaz grip for horizontal and vertical recoil control. Then I go for the 45 round mag because it's so slow firing. I feel I can get away with 45 round mags, and the 60 round impacts your ADS and obviously how quickly you can reload. So I go with 45 with that. The Krieg 6, again I go with the biggest suppressor. If you feel that you want movement over recoil control, go with the suppressor because guns have 2 damage drop-offs, so it doesn't actually impact your bullet velocity and how far away you can shoot people that much, but I just want the vertical recoil control. Again, the longest, or not the longest barrel, but the last barrel, Benny Central went for the Ranger barrel because he wants more movement, but I'm not bothered about that. Axial arms again, Field Agent, which is a horizontal and vertical recoil control, and the 60 round mag this time. Then the Farah, exactly the same, the biggest suppressor, the GRU, the last barrel, axial arms, Spetsnaz grip, 60 round mag. So basically your assault rifles, to set them up for long range, you always want the same sort of things. You want the suppressor or the silencer that has the most bullet velocity, etc. Same with the barrel, and then you essentially want bullet velocity and recoil control. So that's why I build them out the same. Then I've got a couple of sniper rifles in there, so I'll talk you through the sniper support weapons that I have. So with my Kar 98, I have the XM4. The option, the Fafar is another good option as a sniper support. The Groza is another good option as a sniper support. But I just like the XM4. I was using it last night and I just like I like the cut of its jib. So I've got that as my first sniper support. So for sniper support, I've got the agency suppressor, again the biggest one, the last barrel, the Tiger Team spotlight for movement, the Raider pad for movement, and then I've gone for the 45 round mag. You can go for the 60 round mag. If you don't like iron sights, I actually quite like this iron sight. I'd have suggested you get rid of the Tiger Team spotlight and put maybe the Microflex LED. Anyway, one of the smaller scopes on it, but I quite like iron sights, so I'm not bothered by that. So I've got that with the Kar 98, and then with the Swiss, I've got the AS Val, which has the best time to kill of any close range gun. It's absolutely ridiculous. I know I've been bigging it up for ages, but Benny Central actually had it on his video yesterday. He had a different build to me, so again it's up to you, but the build I've had for ages is the VLK 200mm OSA barrel. I don't bother with a laser or an optic. I have the stock, which is best for... Is it best for ADS? Well, anyway, it's just for ADS, the second one down. Then I have the Ranger foregrip because it's got a bit of recoil, so that's to control that. The 30 round mag, which is the biggest it's got, and then I go for stippled grip tape again for ADS, because again the iron sight I quite like. Obviously, if you were going to put an optic on it, I'd probably get rid of the stippled grip tape and put one of the smaller optics on it. The GI mini reflex maybe, but again I quite like iron sights. So they're all my assault rifles. Oh, now I'll talk you through my SMGs. And I know I've said that it's my OCD that makes me put Cold War SMGs with Modern Warfare assault rifles and vice versa, but actually the Cold War guns have much better movement. So if you put a Cold War gun with an Modern Warfare gun, then you'll have better movement with the Cold War guns. So that's why I've put the Cold War SMGs with the Modern Warfare assault rifles, and then the Modern Warfare SMGs with the Cold War assault rifles. So there's method behind my madness. And again, the little table of time to kills and stuff I put on the WhatsApp group earlier, that's why I've chosen these particular ones. So if I just show you other ones you could use, where are we? The Bullfrog is good, but again I tend to use SMGs from 0 to sort of 20 metres, and then anything other after 20 metres I use my assault rifle. And the Bullfrog, I think from 0 to 10 metres it's really good, but then from 10 to 20 metres there are other SMGs that are much better than it, which is why I tend to go with them. So the three I've chosen are better overall than the Bullfrog. But again, the Bullfrog's a decent gun. I get on with it quite well. The nail gun is like a shotgun, so I don't really fancy that. The Milano again it's decent, but it's got a slow fire rate. So as I said with the C58, if you miss your shots, it punishes you more. The Mac 10 is very similar to the Bullfrog in that I think up to 10 metres it's one of the best, but then 10 to 20 it falls off and there are better options, but that's a good one. The AK is the same. The KSP's garbage. Haven't unlocked the new one. So anyway, this is why I've chosen the ones I've chosen, because over the 10 to 20, not to 10 they hold their own, but 10 to 20 they do better than any of these other options that I haven't chosen. So the first one I've gone for is a Cold War MP5. This is quite tricky because other people build it. They've always built their SMGs the same, but then they always put a different build on the Cold War MP5, and I have a feeling it is because if you put a barrel on it, if you look at the iron sight, it's got a full circle, whereas if you don't put a barrel on it, I'll just show you. If you don't put a barrel on it, it then changes to that half moon, and they seem to rate the half moon front iron sight a lot better. But I'm going to keep a barrel on it for the moment. So my build, and it's the same for all my SMGs, Cold War SMGs. So I've got the agency suppressor, because that just helps with with SMGs. It really does help you kill people a bit further out, because it's got more bullet velocity, more effective damage range. So you want the agency suppressor always. Task Force barrel, again bullet velocity, effective damage range. Tiger Team spotlight for movement. Raider stock for movement. Although some people go for the SAS combat stock, and the difference is Raider stock has sprint to fire time. SAS combat stock has firing movement speed. So whichever one you think you need more of, sprint to fire time or firing movement speed is up to you. I'm sticking with the sprint to fire time. Then just a 50 round drum, because the fast mags penalise your ADS a lot, and the difference between having a fast mag and a drum isn't actually that great, so I always go for the drum. So that's the first one, the Cold War MP5. Then I've gone for the LC10. Again, if you look at that table of J gods, I think it's the worst SMG, but actually it's got the same time to kill from 0 to 20 meters, and actually from 10 to 20 meters it's better than all those ones I showed you, the Mach 10, the Bullfrog. So that's why I've kept with it. And again, it's the agency suppressor, task force barrel, Tiger Team spotlight, Raider stock, 55 round mag. And then I've gone for the PP, which again is, I think it's got the same TTK from 0 to 20 meters, which is why I choose it over the other ones. Grew suppressor this time, but it's the last suppressor. Task force barrel again, Tiger Team spotlight, Raider stock, 55 round drum, which is actually the first one, so it doesn't penalise ADS at all. So that's good. If you want more bullets, then the 71 round drum would be your option. Then I've got my Modern Warfare assault rifles. The Modern Warfare MP5, I've got a love-hate relationship with it, because from 0 to 10 meters it absolutely shreds, but again over that 10 to 20 it's not quite as good. But for Modern Warfare SMGs I really like it. So I've got the monolithic integral suppressor. All the pros go for the FTAC collapsible, the close quarters stock. But again, it's up to you. I just get on well with the close quarters stock. And then again, they put the Merc foregrip on it because they go for hip fire, but I've just stopped hip firing entirely, and so I think the Ranger foregrip is better if you're not going to hip fire. So if you're going to hip fire, put the Merc foregrip on it. I'm not going to, so I'm going to put the Ranger foregrip on it. Again, if you like hip firing, you might want to get rid of a stock or a rear grip and put the 5MW laser on it, because that's good for hip fire as well. But as I said, I don't really hip fire anymore, so I don't bother with that or the Merc foregrip. 45 round mag, and then stipple grip tape for ADS again. So that's my MP5. The MP7, similar setup, monolithic suppressor, longest barrel for that bullet velocity and damage range. Again, I go for the close quarters stock. I think a lot of people go for no stock, but I prefer close quarters. Ranger foregrip again hip fire, Merc foregrip, and then I've gone for the 50 round mag. You could go for the 60 if you want. I just went for 50, so that's my MP7. And then, oh, I missed out the AUG. So the AUG is a massively controversial one. I think the only reason I've chosen it is because it was my first SMG I ever started using it, and I just really like it. So it isn't in, I don't think it's in the meta or anywhere near the meta. I think that the ISO I saw is closer to the meta. I think if you want the meta 3, it'd be MP5, MP7 ISO. But I just have always gotten really well with the AUG. And again, it's the same as the MP7, biggest suppressor, monolithic, longest barrel, the equivalent of the ADS, the Ranger foregrip again, because I don't hip fire, and then this time I've gone for the 60 round mag, because the only other mag is 32, and I don't feel that that's enough. And then it's got a 30 round mag with the 5.56, which is like assault rifle bullets, but again I don't think the magazine's big enough, so I go for 60. So that's assault rifles and SMGs. I've then got the Kar 98 as one of my sniper rifles, mainly for rebirth, well, entirely for rebirth. So on the Kar 98 I've got the monolithic suppressor, the longest barrel, the tack laser which helps with ADS. I put the Cronin optic on it because it's the biggest magnification without a glint, and then the precision comb which helps with aiming stability. So that's my Kar 98, and then I've actually put the Swiss on as another option for rebirth, but I haven't ranked it up yet, so I'll I don't know what attachments it wants, but that's my other sniper rifle. So all of these, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, they're all rebirth loadouts. So they all have EOD, overkill and amped. EOD because it obviously helps with explosives, overkill because it gives you 2 guns, amped because it when you weapon swap it just does it so much more quickly. Then I've got Semtex and a heartbeat sensor if you want to use something different like a C4 or a Molotov or a thermite. I mean, the choice is endless. And then you can run stuns or flashes instead of a heartbeat sensor, but those I tend to go for these two. And my last 2 loadouts are my Verdansk loadouts, where I want to have Ghost, or if I get in Rebirth, if I get the second loadout, then I'll take one of these. So the perks are EOD and Amped still, but Ghost instead for both of them, and I still use the same lethal and tactical. So my sniper rifle in Verdansk is the SPR, and for that I have the monolithic suppressor, the longest barrel, the SPR-26, a tack laser for ADS. I go for the proper sniper scope, which does have glint, but obviously Verdansk is much bigger, so I'm not bothered about that as much. And then the Norma mag. I think the last magazine has more damage and range, but it got nerfed, so it doesn't actually do what it says it would. So the Norma mags are the one to go for. So that's my SPR, and then the secondary is the Psychov pistol, which is a single Psychov, monolithic suppressor, the auto barrel, so you can just fire at will. I put a little sight on it, the GI Mini Reflex, 80 round drum, and then the Prizrak rear grip for ADS and sprint to fire time. And then I have the Psychov on my Fafar as well, but then my Fafar is my sniper support. And again, because of Verdansk, I've got rid of I would have a Tiger Team spotlight, but I've got rid of that and put the Microflex LED on it. So it's agency suppressor, task force barrel, Microflex LED, Raider stock, and then the 50 round mag, again over the fast mag. So those are my loadouts and the reason why I've chosen them. Hopefully it'll help. It almost certainly won't. But see you later.